Hello, fellow Whovians. It is I, Dave Chapman, not your usual host, Christian Basil, who is kicking around here under this here cast for all of us so that you can't see us. I really hate how long you keep this up.
There you go.
There we go.
Table.
Hello. Welcome. We have an amazing show for you today. I am so excited to be taking the reins. We've got Gavin here from Wizards of the Coast to talk a little bit about the Doctor Who Magic the Gathering set. I know a few of you guys have asked about it in the comments in previous shows. So we worked our little magic, if you will, bump. And we've got Gavin. Before we introduce Gavin, look at the rest of our panel, starting with, because she always wants to be last. Hi, Gavin.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everybody. So, yep, we got another interview this time around. More gaming stuff, hence why we get Dave, which means we get segues like this, and they're good, which is, a miracle since Christian can't do them. But yeah, super excited that we're going to be doing this. San Diego Comic-Con's coming up soon, so we get to find out a little bit more about the game and that they're going to be there. So, super excited. Who else is on the panel, Dave?
Who else is on the panel? Why, we've got our very own from Cosmic Mass, Nick Smith. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm a Hoobie, but a Magic newbie. So I'm excited to hear more about the game and get to know Gavin. Thank you for being here, Gavin.
And of course, we've got our usual host, and today doing the producing job, Mr. Christian Basil.
Yep. I've got your chat, so good luck
Blame
to me
him.
on this one. Not blaming out there. Hey, gang, welcome to the special episode. We're going to be interviewing Gavin from Magic the Gathering, the Wizards of the Coast. And Dave's taking over because my first question is going to be, what is Magic the Gathering? So, and for folks, this is going to be great because the folks who may not be familiar with this game, I know there are a lot of you out there who may not be familiar. We're going to make sure that we educate you and tell you about what's coming up down the pipe down there. So, thank you all for joining us tonight there. Then I'll take it away to Dave.
Excellent. And let's bring up Gavin, because why not? Our special
Hey, everybody.
Who are you? And say hello.
Hey, everyone. My name is Gavin Verhey. I'm a principal game designer on Magic the Gathering at Wizards of the Coast and a huge Doctor Who fan. In fact, my favorite story to tell, I've told this story a few times now, is that we started doing this Universes Beyond line for Magic, where we would combine Magic the Gathering with other properties. So, for example, we just came out with the Lord of the Rings set a couple weeks ago. And so I knew we were doing a few of these. And one day I get called into the office and they're like, hey, we want you to lead an upcoming Universes Beyond product. And it's going to be Doctor Who. And I laughed at them because I was like, oh, well, everyone knows that's my favorite IP. Like, that's a funny joke. Like, what are we actually doing, right? And they're like, no, really. Like we got the rights to do this. We're going to be doing it. And I'm over the moon, right? Like, I have slept on the sidewalk to get into Comic-Con so many times. I have a 10th Doctor cosplay. Like, I've seen the panel. I've met a lot of the cast. Like, I am a gigantic Doctor Who fan. And to get to do this was truly a dream come true. And I'm so stoked for what I got to create for everyone. It is a really, 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 really amazing love letter to the IP.
Oh,
that's awesome.
You sent chills down my spine, Gavin.
Good. That's what I was aiming for.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, this is and not. So you've got this one coming out. You said you just dropped Lord of the Rings. Warhammer 40K won one of the Origins Awards this year. Kind of jealous because I didn't win.
I'm sorry, Dave.
And congratulations to Board Game Quest for a great review. So they definitely earned it, but still. But you guys have just been rolling over everything with this new Universes Beyond stuff. So I'm really excited to learn about it. Why don't we start off, because we've got Nick, who's kind of, and Christian, who's even farther back in the what. Let's just let him kind of ask his thing, because I mean, Rev, at least I knew what Magic the Gathering was. Yep, you were.
Shut it. Tom, just shut it down.
Christian, go ahead, ask what you've got to ask. Figure so we can move things along.
Okay,
Cast the die.
Let's just casting the die. I'm rolling for a 20 here. So, Gavin, for somebody who has heard of the game, has never dabbled into it. Actually, I've got a roommate who knows about it pretty darn well, but I've just seen like cards and that's it. Could you explain to some people who may not be familiar how Magic the Gathering is, how would you describe it to somebody off the street who is playing for the first time?
Okay, totally. So Magic the Gathering is so many different things, but to boil it down, what it is it's a card game. So you collect cards to build your deck out of, and you play with one person or sometimes multiple people. Like in the case of these Doctor Who decks, it's actually for a 4-person game. And you play, and everyone starts with 20 life points. And when you're playing Commander, which is what these Doctor Who decks come out, and you're playing with 40 life points. And your goal is to get everyone else's life down to 0 before they get your life down to 0. And you play out creatures, which are like kind of your characters. You use some spells to do that. And it's basically a strategy game. So think about like chess with a bit of bluffing, and you get to build your own deck. So what I always describe it as is imagine chess, but you get to bring all your own pieces. So instead of like you always using the king and the queen, you go into your library of 20,000 different pieces, and you bring your own pieces to the table. So everyone's decks feel a lot different. There's a lot of creativity and ingenuity you get to do, and you can play it at all kinds of levels. Before coming to Wizards, so I've been there for 12 years now. Before coming there, I was actually a professional Magic player, so I traveled around the world playing in tournaments. And then I got hired to go work on the game, and now I help actually create what it does. So you can be, there's all kinds of backgrounds. You can be a really competitive player and make that your life. You can be a casual player playing with your friends at the kitchen table. It's all there. It's all wonderful. It's all valid. And what's going on here with Doctor Who is this is a kind of Magic called Commander. The way that Commander works is it's less about winning. It's not really cutthroat. It's nothing like that. It's about kind of hanging out, playing a game together, and having a good time. Yes, there will be a winner at the end. Yes, you are trying to win, but it's about seeing big splashy plays, having cool moments. And to bring it all back around, my favorite thing about the Doctor Who Commander decks is we kind of came up with a tagline early on in the design of the product that I called "Build Your Own Episode." And every time you play these decks together, it feels like you're watching your own episode of Doctor Who, right? I remember the first playtest we ever did, it was like Rose Tyler was about to get converted into a Cyberman. And then like the 7th Doctor had to show up with a dinosaur to save her, right? And it's like, this is what the cards were doing. They were their mechanics. Mm-hmm. But it was awesome to see this like story of a Doctor Who episode play out in front of your very eyes, even though it's actually never happened anywhere in canon. So it's sort of like a tell your own story, build your own adventure kind of thing through a strategy card game. And I love you get both that strategy and gameplay element as well as the cool flavor elements in there too.
Excellent. So, I mean, and that kind of answers a lot of my last question or next question, which was what exactly is the Commander format? But you already covered that. You were well ahead of us.
Yeah, and Commander, I'll just say, has grown. I think when a lot of people think about Magic, look, it's been around for 30 years. This is Magic's 30th year. When a lot of people think about Magic, they probably think of like two people across the table from each other, brows furrowed a little bit, like, deadlocked and like playing this intense game. Commander is the opposite of that. It's like laughing around the table, having some pretzels and soda or whatever, and just like enjoying being in each other's company, right? A Commander is sort of like Magic's version of a board game where you go over to someone's house, you each bring your Commander deck, and you sit there. A game takes an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. And when it's not your turn, maybe you're catching up with your friend or something like that, Mm-hmm. So it really feels a lot different than traditional Magic, which makes it such a great fit for this Universes Beyond line, because it's like, hey, you don't know Magic super well, grab a deck, come on in and play. We'll help you out. It's not super cutthroat. In fact, it's pretty common for players to enter in through Commander. So, they can be like, you can help each other out as you're playing. Like, oh, hey, you should do this. You should do this. There's no stakes. So everyone's just there to make sure everyone else has a good time. So it's a really cool thing for the Universes Beyond Commander decks to kind of be a great fusion of those two pieces.
30 years. Thanks for making me feel old.
Oh,
I started playing the tail end of the dark.
Oh, wow. Yes, that's like 94 or so.
I moved and didn't like the player base that I found myself in, so I actually kind of mostly retired around Mirage. So, I mean, there's my time frame of regular playing. I still have a deck. I still play occasionally, but I've never played Commander format, so I was really quite curious as how this is working.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, Commander is really unique. I'll say a few other things in case folks don't know. Some unique things about Commander is that A, the games are longer because you start with 40 life. Okay. B, your deck is 100 cards instead of the normal 60 cards. And you can only play one copy of each card. So there's a lot of variance. Like every game is a little bit different, right? And really makes these different stories kind of happen. And then the big thing about Commander and why it's such a great fit for Doctor Who, or one of the reasons why it's a great fit for Doctor Who, is you build your Commander deck around legendary creatures. So in Magic, you have like your normal goblins and elves that are just hanging out. Then you have your named characters, right? So in like the Lord of the Rings, that's like Frodo and Gandalf and Sauron and whoever. Well, in Doctor Who, it's going to be like your doctors and your companions and masters and so on and so forth. So you actually build your deck around this specific character that you kind of always have access to. So you get to build your 10th Doctor deck, or you get to build your Davros deck or whatever. And it's cool that you actually get to be like, this is my personification of this character. And I think that's rad.
Perfect. So what are the decks? What are just a very brief, because I know there's more information coming over the next few weeks, but what's kind of the basis of the 4 decks that you've got?
So this was really interesting. So when we build commander decks, we try and figure out ways to divvy them up, right? So we're going to do 4 commander decks. We knew we were going to do 4 commander decks. And so we usually find like some kind of faction or something. For example, with Warhammer 40,000, we did 4 different Warhammer factions. Makes a ton of sense, right? With Lord of the Rings, we did kind of different areas of Middle-earth. So, you've got like your elves and your forces of evil, all that kind of stuff. With Doctor Who, we started by doing, very early on in design, we're like, okay, we'll try the same playbook. We'll try divvying it up by like kind of what these things are. So we had like a Doctor deck and a Companion deck and a Cyberman deck and like a Dalek deck or something like that, which was okay, but we found it just wasn't really gelling. It's first of all, it was weird that the Doctors and the Companions weren't being played together. Second of all, it's like, well, I mean, are there really enough different Daleks to fill out a whole deck based on it? There were all these challenges. And so we could not find anything that worked. And one day I was like, we got to get this figured out. So I took one of the other designers after work. We locked ourselves in the room for like an hour and a half and we hammered on it. And what we realized was there's one question that almost all Doctor Who fans ask each other. And once we figured that out, it all came together. And that question, I'm sure you have all asked each other this before, is who's your doctor, right?
Yep.
When did you start watching the show? Who is your doctor? And we're like, this is it. So what we did is we divvied the 4 decks up into different eras of the show. And so that way, no matter when you started watching, you're like, oh, this is the one for me. So we've got one deck that's the classic deck, which is the 1st through 8th Doctors. We've got one deck, which is like the relaunch deck, which is the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctors. And we've got one deck that is the 12th and 13th deck. So the newest Doctors, the newest material.
Right.
And then there's the 4th deck. What about the 4th deck? Well, of course, just as well known as the heroes of Doctor Who are the villains. So we have one deck that's dedicated to all the villains from across space and time, from things you're going to expect to be there, like Davros and the Master, all the way to some pretty deep cuts. So there's all that in there too. And I'll also just call out really fast that I didn't mention the upcoming Doctors at all. I'll just say that we do have a plan for them, but I can't talk about that one quite yet. So.
Oh, wow.
That's typical.
Yeah.
And I mean that nicely, not mean, but that's a very NDAs will make you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those weird things where, with Magic, we work on our sets years in advance, right? So I got to work, we got to work with the BBC on this, which was incredible. Talk about a dream come true to be on calls with them and have them telling stuff about the future. It was like really amazing. Normally I'm the one telling people about the future. Yeah. So if someone told me about the future, I was like, ooh, this is super exciting. But even with our timelines, we had to be very careful when we did certain things where. So the decks only comprise up through the 13th Doctor story, but like I said, we got some plans for some of the future stuff. So you'll find out more about that down the road.
Cool.
Excellent. Nick, did you have any thoughts?
I did, yeah. I'd love to know more about how this game came about. Did the BBC approach you? Did Wizards approach the BBC? How did that work?
That's a great question. So we have a whole team that's like a Universes Beyond licensing team. And they are always reaching out to folks or having people reach out to them about the connections. I don't know exactly how this one came about because I'm more on the design side, but I believe it was us reaching out to them. Like we looked at properties we thought would be a good fit for Magic and fit well. And I think, I'm not sure on this though, we reached out to them. One thing that's really interesting is actually when I was first told about doing Doctor Who, obviously I was very excited, huge Whovian. So like, yeah, thumbs up, I'm on board. But I was like, that's kind of a strange fit. My first thing was like, that feels kind of weird, right? Magic is like a fantasy trading card game. This is like a real world show. Does it really fit? But then once I started designing, it was clear to me, oh no, this is actually a really good fit. I'm super glad we chose it because in every Magic set, so we come out with new sets all the time, and each Magic set goes to a different world with a new cast of characters. The world has some new problem that our heroes have to save. Sound familiar? Like every episode of Doctor Who, you go to a new world and there's some problem that our heroes have to save and there's a new cast of characters. So it really lined up nicely. And when working on the set, I was like, oh, this is an amazing fit for Doctor Who. And in fact, I mean, I'm maybe skipping ahead a little bit, but whatever. It's a time travel show. I'll skip ahead in this interview. one of the things we did that was really cool is there's a variant of Magic, a special kind of way to play that doesn't happen very often, or we haven't released many products for, rather, but is very popular, called Plane Chase. And the way that Plane Chase works is you basically, along with your game, along with your decks, you bring these oversized cards that are about twice or 2.5 times the size of a normal Magic card. And these represent locations. So in Magic, they represent the different worlds of Magic. And then over the course of the game, basically, you will flip them up and it looks like you'll be in that location for a little while. And before design on the Doctor Who decks even started, I was like, this is perfect for Doctor Who. Like, what better thing for Doctor Who than to literally travel throughout space and time as you're playing your games? And so I got the thumbs up on that before we even started the design process, and we baked it in from the very beginning. So as you're actually playing these commander decks, every game you will start off in a different place and you'll travel to many more places as the games go on, right? So, you might start on Earth and then go to the library and then go from there to, the Dalek homeworld and who knows what have you. So it's very, very cool. And it really makes you feel like you're part of the show.
Everything just kind of ties perfectly together there.
And I'd also just say, I think the game is great. I love Magic. Obviously, huge Magic fan. You will see no disagreement about loving Magic here. But if you're just a fan of the show and you just want some cool Doctor Who collectibles, not only is the art amazing, but the art on these Plane Chase cards is especially cool because they're double the size of a normal card. And the art piece takes up most of the card. So you get these great panoramas of landscapes. And we showed off one already. We showed off the library from the Silence in the Library episode. And it's so cool to get. I want to get that art piece, put it on my fridge or something, because it is awesome. So I think even just Doctor Who. You guys are so good. You got it right there. So you get to see these things from Doctor Who fully realized like this in the Lux Foundation library. And there's a lot more where that came from. So
we've got most of the art that you guys sent us. We've got loaded up here, so we can take a look at all of that. We've got a couple of questions from the audience that we can look at. But before that, we're going to do a commercial break. And before the commercial, I have to ask one very important question. Gavin, who is your doctor?
It's a boring answer, I know, but I'm a Tenet man. I started watching with Blink. It was my first episode. I fell in love immediately, and I have a 10th Doctor cosplay. So a huge 10th Doctor fan. I know it's a common answer, but he really is my guy. Although I will say, I know we got to go to break, but I will say one thing that was really fun is I didn't have as much experience with the classic series, but working on this project, it was like, all right, time to buckle down and actually watch this stuff. And I really gained an appreciation for a lot of the classic Doctors, and especially the 7th Doctor, who I felt was really underrated. So I know it's like toward the end of the run, but it was really good. So, I mean, I'm a 10th Doctor guy for sure, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there. And anyone out there watching, if you haven't gone back to watch some of the old stuff, there's some really cool stuff nestled in there. So
I love that answer, especially because I'm a big fan of sevens. So,
there we go.
But yes, so let's take ourselves a commercial break, shall we, Christian?
Absolutely. Before we go, please like, share, subscribe, and comment to help those algorithms going. We'll be back with Gavin in just a few moments with more about Wizards of the Coast. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. We'll be right back.
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night, and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live, and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
And are we back?
Oh yeah,
And we're back.
back.
Is Christian just not?
I always put
the button is not working. I'm not sure.
No, he's fine.
So
He's
actually, those commercials kind of brought up a question that I hadn't thought. We had Worlds Apart, which we played on the show a few times. That's a digital card game, sometimes kind of compared to Magic because it is kind of similar. Is this going to go in because you guys have your own digital format? Is this going? Are there any of the universes beyond, but especially the Doctor Who, going to be going through the Magic Arena, the online stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Commander, which is what these decks are and this way to play, is not something that's on Arena. Arena is more about one-on-one play. It doesn't really have that multiplayer element as much, in part because it's not in the game yet, but also just in part because so much of the multiplayer nature of Commander is sitting around the table and laughing with your friends and making jokes and kind of once again having that like communal board game experience. So it's not going on to Arena. Not to say that it couldn't ever someday if there was the right reason to, but for now it's going to be paper only.
Okay, that's fair. And
which is nice because there's some very strange things I did with the cards would be very hard to code. So there you go.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Can you play regular Magic with this? Like, or are these going to be tournament legal?
Oh yeah. So the way our Universes Beyond cards work is they're just like normal Magic cards. You can play them you can mix and match them with your other decks. One of the great things about Magic is it's something that you get to take all the pieces you've collected over the past 30 years and mix and match them and pull them around and tell your own stories and build your own decks with them. So you can absolutely take these cards and put them in your other Commander decks. What we found with the Warhammer 40,000 decks I thought was really interesting is some people took their favorite cards out, put them in their other decks, but a lot of people just kept them together as like this perfect little capsule of like their board game, right? They brought them out. It's, hey, we're going to play Warhammer 40,000 today. We're going to have this little board game experience. And I think with Doctor Who, you're going to see a lot of the same, where there are some cards players take out, put in their decks, mix and match, but also a lot of people are just like, this is my Doctor Who Magic board game. This is perfect. I want to keep these together and play with them. And that's really cool. But yes, they can be played in tournament play, in some of the older formats, and then be played in Commander as well. So you never know. Maybe the 10th Doctor is going to be the hot new tournament card. Anything's possible, I guess.
Throw my Force of Nature in there.
Well, there's something funny. There's something funny to throwing your like classic, Sarah Angels and Shivan Dragons and Dark Rituals next to, whatever, an adipose. But that's the delight of the game, I think.
We'll just Tim David Tennant to death. For those who don't know, if you know, you know. Let's take a look at some of these questions from the audience. I want to start near the bottom here with Scott.
Okay.
If the next Doctor was chosen from a Magic the Gathering character, who would make the best choice?
Wow, that's quite a great question. So Magic is full of these characters called Planeswalkers, and Planeswalkers are like our title characters. In fact, they're like our doctors because they have the ability no one else has, which is to travel between worlds. And so for a doctor, I think would come from a Planeswalker. So I'd guess one of our most popular Planeswalkers, maybe someone like Jace, who's a very like blue thinky kind of wizard. But definitely, I think one of our Planeswalkers would be the choice there.
Excellent.
Good question.
What else we got here?
Yep, let me go ahead and bring him up for you. We got Scott again asked a question. Who's Emrakul?
Yeah, so Emrakul is like it's the biggest, fiercest creature basically in Magic. It's a gigantic, cosmic, like Lovecraftian monster from another world, and exactly the kind of thing the Doctor would have to fight against, I think. It's like, imagine the Atraxi, but like way bigger and way meaner and with totally inscrutable. Well, certainly in a one-on-one fight, the Doctor's going to get smushed, but I feel like the Doctor always has some clever plans up their sleeves. So, I'd always put my bets on the good guys.
That's fair. What else we got here, Christian?
It's coming, brother. Hang on a second. Just getting my act together there.
This is how Melanie feels.
Gotcha. Mark Robinson, will the Doctor still have mana element?
Yeah, so I'll kind of explain this for a second. So in the game of Magic the Gathering, there are 5 colors, right? You've got white, blue, black, red, and green. And this is like the building blocks of our game. White is about community and working together and healing and angels and soldiers and that kind of thing. Blue is about knowledge and learning and air and water and deceit and trickery and cunning, that kind of stuff. Think merfolk, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Black is about ambition and death and zombies and swamps and noxious fumes and that kind of stuff. Red is like passion and lightning and fire and quick and impulsiveness and your goblins, that kind of stuff. And then green is about forests. You've got like trees and elves and elementals and nature and nurture and growth. So these are the 5 colors that Magic is built on. And I think if you take away nothing else, knowing about those 5 colors is really the key part of Magic, because all of our cards, or most of our cards, fall into one of those colors. And so one of the things that our fans love doing are debating which colors are certain characters going to be, because, what color is the Doctor? Are different incarnations of the Doctor different colors? What colors is Davros? That kind of thing. And so, yes, of course, there'll be mana in the Magic the Gathering Doctor Who experience. And I think there'll be a lot of fun. People trying to guess which colors certain characters are going to be. And maybe you could run through a few right now if you all have guesses you want to make on things. Like, what color do you think the 10th Doctor is? Assume that you get to pick 2 colors, by the way. So the Doctors are the Doctors are 2 colors.
Wow.
You get to pick 2 colors for them to be.
I would say green, red, if anything.
Fair enough. I was going to say blue and red.
I was going to say blue and red as well.
Definitely a little bit of red.
Right.
Definitely the
right.
chaos.
So you're saying you kind of get that like knowledge and carefulness matched with a bit of impulsiveness and quick. Exactly right. So what about the first Doctor? What colors is the first Doctor?
Blue. Well, the Doctor could be blue and red throughout all of it.
Yeah, but certain ones do shade a little bit more careful and cunning, and other ones I went with the 10th Doctor. He tends to just shiny.
He's colorless. He is gray.
Right, but remember, like the Family of Blood, when
Black and white.
Get that Time Lord.
I was just trying not to say that. I think that joke is just terrible, and I love it. Please tell me he's black and white. You probably can't tell us any of this. We'll have to wait and see. I know.
Well, I think if you look at all the Doctors, right, like you can look at each of them, and some of them are probably the same, but also some of them are like, if you look at the War Doctor, that's like a very different kind of philosophy, right? Like there's a wide variety of things you can pull from, and it was really fun to try and interpret that in Magic. And so the way we built it is actually really cool. So in Commander, as I mentioned before, you normally pick one legendary character to be your commander. So you have like the 13th Doctor here to be your commander, or the 10th Doctor, or so on and so forth. But one thing that we found is in Doctor Who, there's nothing more iconic than the Doctor and their companions together, right? Like that is what the whole show is built around, is the Doctor and companions. There's Sarah Jane Smith right there. And so we designed a special mechanic that allows you to actually use 2 commanders. You get to have, it's called Doctor's Companion, fitting enough. You get to use 1 Doctor and 1 companion as your commander. So if you want to play Sarah Jane Smith alongside the 4th Doctor, you can absolutely do that. But once again, tell your own stories, right? So if you want to build your deck to have it be Sarah Jane Smith and the 10th Doctor, you can do that too. If you want to do Sarah Jane Smith and the 13th Doctor, go nuts. And so once again, you kind of get to build your own deck, tell your own story. And I think that's awesome. So you actually have to play them together, which is fantastic. And the way that we built it is the companions in the decks are all 1 color, and the Doctors in the decks are all 2 color. So that way you get up to a 3 color deck, and you kind of get to see how the companions like augment the Doctor a little bit, right? So, for example, the 10th Doctor we announced is, or actually even better, the 4th Doctor we announced is blue and green, and then Sarah Jane Smith is white. So you get that kind of blue greenness from the 4th Doctor, plus the kind of like investigative journalism, like core of good from Sarah Jane Smith, and that makes your white blue green deck. And it was really fun to kind of make that all come together.
That makes sense.
So I know it's a lot of information, but
It is,
That's
and it's great. It's great information because that's why we're here, is to get all of this information. Do we want? You know what?
Your call. We still have a
Melanie?
few questions in the chat.
Do we want to do some more? Or do we want to let Melanie get, because she's just, you can see her, she's just bouncing as you want to ask her questions.
Go ahead.
I have questions.
Melanie,
but-
You're the host.
What would you like to know that you're bouncing about?
Well, okay, so Krishna was pulling up, or I don't know who was pulling them up, but the artwork that was being coming up, and that was like every time I was just sitting here like staring at everything. So like every artist, I mean, we have our own, our own process. But what is the process behind like the design and art direction standpoint, and like all of this? I mean, is it all original art?
Yeah. So it's all original art. Yeah, thanks for running through the art pieces here too, because they really are stunning. I mean, I feel like with this project, we've probably created some of the coolest like pieces, or the biggest collection of Doctor Who like official art, and probably anywhere. Like, maybe there's been somewhere else, I don't know, but there's so much good stuff here, and it was awesome. So yeah, we has a very deep process in-house. It's all done bespoke for this set. We're not grabbing from anywhere else, really. We're not, we don't use anything AI generated. This is all from our awesome staple of magic artists. And so it was, us, we basically, it's a very long process. First, in the design process, we decide what each card is going to be, like what character it's going to be or something like that. We work with the team on that. And then a writer writes a description for the artist, like quite a long description of like, hey, here's what we want, here's what it looks like. And keep in mind that not every artist is going to be a Doctor Who fan, so we need to make sure to get all the elements of that in there. And then it's a long back and forth process where the artist starts working. They send us sketches. We send them feedback on the sketches. We iterate. And actually, can you hold on this image for 1 second? I want to talk about it.
Absolutely.
In particular. And so we go back and forth for a while. And also we send them over to the BBC because they'll have notes on them too. So it's a very long iterative process, but ends up with incredible pieces. And this set has so many cards in it. I mean, each deck has 100 cards. There's a couple that overlap, but not many. So, I mean, you're looking at almost 400. I mean, not quite, because some cards, like I said, do repeat. But, you're looking at a ton of unique Doctor Who artwork. And one thing I want to call out about this piece in particular. So can anyone out there pinpoint where this is from? Does anyone know what episode or what moment this is depicting? So while you're thinking about that, I'll just kind of talk about it. So lands are like the core of Magic. You play lands to kind of play your other cards, and they're what you draw power from. One of our really early ideas was we would do a bunch of basic lands, which are what these are, the core building blocks of Magic, but be different places that the TARDIS has visited, perhaps say the Legends of the Traveling TARDIS, and we'd grab them from throughout the series. And so, does anyone know where this one is from?
Nick, you got a guess?
Yes, I'm going to plump for Peladon.
What was that? Sorry, I missed it.
Peladon is my guess.
Yeah, I believe that is correct. Yeah, it's from a very early episode, like maybe is that a third Doctor story, something like that?
Third Doctor,
Third Doctor, right? Very early story. So one of the things that you'll notice in this piece is if you look at the reference, and we don't have the reference here, but you can maybe Google it. It does not look quite this good, right? It as we all know, early Doctor Who used whatever they had access to. It was very low budget. And one of the things that we took really great joy in and that made us really happy is we were able to take some of those really early Doctor Who episodes and illustrate them. And there's no special effects budget when you're illustrating, right? You get to draw whatever you want. So we got to really bring some of those early episodes and early characters and early aliens to life. And there's a couple in particular. There's actually one in particular that is so cool. We got to make them look awesome because they're very early. I'm not gonna say what they are, but they're a very early alien you find in early Doctor Who. And they were very janky looking on the show, with respect to given the budget.
Lovingly
but we
said.
were able to make them look really cool, or at least I think pretty cool. And we're gonna actually next week at San Diego Comic-Con, I have a panel, and you'll actually get a little hint of what those are at that panel. So there's some cool stuff that we were able to update and do, and I was really glad we were able to bring that kind of modern art sensibility of, hey, we can draw whatever cool stuff we want. Let's make this stuff look really awesome.
Awesome. So you've got a couple of panels come up. You mentioned that. So before we go to a commercial break again, why don't we kind of go through what are some of those upcoming appearances that are going to be talking about this?
Yeah. So next week at San Diego Comic-Con, Thursday night, 7 to 8 p.m. I think it's in Hall 7AB. Maybe we'll put it in the show notes or something. I've got a panel all about universes beyond, and with a big focus on Doctor Who. So obviously this is a thing I'm very passionate about, as you can hopefully tell if you've been watching this for almost 40 minutes. So we're going to be giving some sneak peeks of the future. Do not miss it. If you're at Comic-Con, plus like it's 7 p.m. at Comic-Con, what else are you going to be doing, right? It's kind of late in the day. You can go get dinner first, come back to the panel. It's going to be rad. You're going to see some stuff for the very first time. And one thing I'll say about it, without giving anything away, is that at San Diego Comic-Con, we knew that there would be a lot of Doctor Who fans. Like, obviously, it's a show where Doctor Who is known for coming and doing cool stuff. So I really geared the panel toward being great for just people who know Doctor Who and don't know magic. So come, and even if you don't know magic, I think you'll have a great time watching the panel. That's what I'll say. And then the week afterwards at MagicCon Barcelona, which I will also be at. My schedule is pretty wacky right now. I'll be out in Barcelona the next week, and we're going to have a panel covering a lot of Doctor Who. It's going to be really Doctor Who focused. Kind of like San Diego Comic-Con is like the first little teaser, the first little snippets of information. But then you get your real first look at Barcelona the next weekend. And it's going to be a really fun event. So if you're in Barcelona, if you're in Europe and you're watching this, come on by and check it out. And if you're just, an online person like the rest of us, you can, follow social media and stuff that day to see a lot of the cool stuff as it comes out.
We definitely have people over in Europe over there. So
for sure. I'll say, of course, Doctor Who, huge in Europe. One of the coolest moments. Actually, I'll tell that story after the break. I know we got to go to a break. I'll tell that story after the break. So let's do that.
We got a story and a few more questions in our chat. So when we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, become part of the legend. We will be right back.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Flaw, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Hi, my name is Jamie Engel, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered, with stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at TheRatHole.ca. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
I truly don't think she washes her hands.
How have I never noticed the toilet paper bookmark before? Somehow I'd only just noticed.
You never saw that?
No, I've never noticed that. I think it's because I'm always watching our guest, Gavin, because we can see everything that's happening off screen too.
See people's
It's fun
reactions.
to watch when that commercial comes on.
I'm so sorry.
Like just a arched eyebrow. What?
That's the Bad Wolf one was really cool.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
tell us about
Well,
that.
actually,
Tell us about
man,
that.
I've got a whole. Should I tell this story first, or should I tell the other story first? I'm so
Whichever you want.
Let me tell my other. Let me tell this story first. It's on the screen. Okay. I know. Actually, let me tell the other story first. This one's going to inspire a lot more discussion. Okay. So let's flip off this for a second. So I just want to say one cool thing that happened is I went to last year, early last year, I had to go to London, or I got to go to London, depending on your way to look at it, for work for another event, and I was like, you know what would be awesome if I got to playtest my Doctor Who decks with our UK office, because we actually have a Magic office in the UK. So I smuggled the 4 Doctor Who Commander decks, a very early version of them, not finished version, over to the UK office. And I just wanted to say that, you mentioned having people in Europe who are excited about this, who watch the show. Like, it was so cool getting to play with people from London who have grown up with these characters and love them, right? Because in the States, like I'm a fan, my whole team was fans, but it's one thing for us to all enjoy it. It's another to watch someone who was watching when the 4th Doctor was on air, watching every episode, play that deck. And that was just such a cool experience. So I really hope that there's something in there for everybody.
That's so cool.
Okay, let's go back to that art piece. So I'm going to tell a fun little thing, then we'll play a little game. Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
Ooh, you like games here.
Yeah. Well, I'm a game designer, so that's what I'm here to do. So this is a great way to kind of get to wrap up too. So one thing that is in Magic are these cards called sagas. What sagas do is they sort of tell a story in the world, right? Of like, here's what happened in the world, and then they have got this basically ability called chapters, where they do each turn they do something that kind of tells a story, and then when the whole story is done, they go away, right? So maybe they tell a story of a battle, and the first stage is the soldiers show up, and the second stage is the battle happens, and the third stage is you get your reward, that kind of thing. Okay, classic saga structure in Magic. One thing we stumbled upon really early on in this product design that everyone loved, and it started off with 1 card and quickly grew into more cards, we're doing sagas for Doctor Who based on episodes of the show. So this, for example, is the Parting of the Ways, which is a saga card that will show up, and it kind of tells the story of the episode in its own way, 1 turn at a time. And they all have these stunning vertical pieces of art that are sort of like in a composite way showing off what's happening in that episode. And to me, they're spine tingling. Like, they are so cool. They're probably my favorite art pieces in the whole set. And what we did was like, how the heck we're going to narrow it down, right? Because I could pick 100 Doctor Who episodes to make these out of, but I don't want to make 100 saga cards because they're very hard to design. So what we did was, kind of the line I drew, is we would give every Doctor 1 saga from their run, right? So this is the 9th Doctor saga, The Parting of the Ways. It's an iconic episode. Additionally, we made 4 for the villains as well that were awesome villain stories, because we don't want to leave them out of the fun too. So there's 19 total sagas in the set, 15 for the 13 Doctors, plus War Doctor, plus Fugitive Doctor, and then 4 for the villains. So I'm curious from all of you, if we go through the Doctors really quick, 1 through 13, which episodes, if you were to choose the most iconic episodes or one that might make for a good gameplay, what episodes do you think I would choose for Doctors 1 through 13? We can start in either direction, but I'm curious what you all think as Doctor Who pros.
Oh.
Well, the first Doctor, I'm thinking Dalek's Master Plan. It's so epic. It just lends itself to a big archy story.
I was thinking the Aztec one.
Mm-hmm.
For 1.
Power the Daleks for 2. Maybe. Were we just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Let's go up. Let's do something strange for Doctor Who and start at the beginning. So 2.
I would do
the weird thing is, like, 2 has like,
you do the war games. You got an expansion pack going,
Yeah.
because you can continue throwing war games.
it's sad to say, it's like one of my favorite 2 episodes is the one that they don't have anymore, and you have to find like the animated version that they only have the dialogue of.
Shada?
Yeah.
Mark says a chase.
Chase. Oh, Mark has a good one for the second. Web of Fear.
Web of Fear.
That would be good.
List. all of this, actually, what do we have 0 of in 2? Because that would be the one I'd pick. There's at least one that I think they have not animated yet. That again is lost.
Of the, I think that's more. It's a lot of 2, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly 2. So that would
It's
be,
mostly 2 that got lost.
One that I would say a 2 would be one that we don't have because that would just be cool to be able to give it some love.
That would be. I don't know. I'm trying to think 3.
Third.
I think we're way off the mark because Gavin is just.
Gavin's just being quiet, so now we're just pontificating. And
I'm not going to tell you if you get it right or wrong. That ruins the whole thing. So.
Mark says demons. I say Inferno for the third Doctor because now you're going to another dimension.
I'm kind of siding with Mark again on demons.
I mean, maybe a bigger picture, like the whole third Doctor exile. He wants to get off the planet. He's trying different ways to escape.
I already know what my 4th one is.
I think Gavin's just getting game ideas from us so we can go. That's where I got
for the next expansion. Yeah.
4 is going to be Genesis of the Daleks. Yep. Yeah.
Nope. I gotta say the Talons.
Oh, you're always going to say Talons.
I know I am, but that would be a cool game to play, especially in the dark alleys.
It's not going to be his Legolopolis, him falling off the water tower.
Not
when 10 can jump from a spaceship, crash through a window, and just be like, splat. I'm still holding the gun. We're fine. 4. I'm sorry. Bitter about 4 regenerating.
5th Doctor, I would say Castro Valva. Yeah, he's a regeneration episode.
I really don't know my 5th Doctor. I'll be honest.
I've forgotten the title. When he goes and plays cricket.
Black Orchid, I think.
Black Orchid, thank you.
Black Orchid.
That would be a fun one because it's just a
Mark,
little bit off.
Mark wants Earthshock because he wants to knock out Adric at the end of the game.
See, that's my thing. Is when it comes to like 5, 6, and even 7, I know more like Big Finish than anything than the actual episodes. I get them confused.
I mean, 6 is Trial of the Time Lord,
which
just in general, I think.
It's going to be Trial. Just go with the Valiard on the
Oh, okay. Ramona says Face of Evil for the 4th Doctor. That would work. You get Leela in there.
Or the Key to Time for the 4th Doctor.
Or the robots. The Robots of Death.
No, it's got to have something with Harry Sullivan. Sorry.
He wants Mark Robinson's going for the 2 Doctors. Let's take him to Spain.
Yeah,
that would work because you got the space station, you got Spain, Earth, you got multiple locations you can play with down there. I would say the 7th Doctor would be as weird and as distorted that episode was. I would say Ghostlight.
I just want to see the artwork for the 6th Doctor for every piece because bless whoever was tasked with that artist to do that damn coat. My lord, I hope that something was shown in the blue one.
Yep.
Attention to detail, man.
Okay, Mark, you went on that. Yeah, Battlefield or Curse of Fenric.
I was going to say the same thing, Mark.
Yeah, I would have said Dragonfire or Greatest Show in the Galaxy, but partly because I just love Greatest Show in the Galaxy. I love that Megs comes back after the fact in Big Finish. So 8, I'm going to say Night of the Doctor. Assuming
maybe Night of the Doctor.
I mean, you can't just do the movie as much as I'd love to.
You could.
I mean, that segues into a question, but I want to finish this first. But yeah, I would go Night of the Doctor. Funny if I go Night of the Doctor for.
Oh right, Mark's really pulling. Shut up.
Shut up.
And then 9th, we know already it's Parting the Ways.
Parting the Ways for 9.
So that gives that one away.
All right, here comes the fight for 10.
Blink. It's Blink because
I'm going with Library
episode. This was the one that got him hooked. It's got to be Blink.
Well, that's true. That's a tell. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go crazy and say the Library. Silence in the Library.
I would go with
because the River Song's right there. That's pretty epic. But
Mark's going for Blink.
It's probably Blink. Blink would be honestly the penultimate one.
I'm trying to think if there's any more 10th Doctor that could pull it off over there.
All of them. I mean, that's the thing is a lot of the ones I could see that are Saga are kind of also specials. The only bad thing is like 9 didn't get a special because 9 only had like his one run.
For one season.
Like the Christmas special thing.
Are you going to
trust me, Christian? There's nothing left to write down. I've thought about every one of these options so many times.
Oh yeah,
I thought about all this, debated them. It was brutal. It was agonizing. Imagine having to actually choose.
No, I refuse.
Okay, how about 11?
Good man.
Hide.
I was thinking that
because you got some beautiful imagery. He's going through travel. You got different. I like it when it's not you go to all these different places. I almost wanted to throw in, but I don't know how that would work. I don't know, because I know people don't positively. It's the Rings of Akatan, but imagery wise, that was so cool, and that could probably be worked out there. Of course, the 50th anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will put that anywhere. Wherever we could slot that one in. I love the 50th.
Tom says Journey to the Center of the TARDIS and the Doctor's wife. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Or the whole deal with the Pandorica, because you have so many monsters.
That's
the
true.
Pandorica one would be good. And then how much of the 11th do you really want to push in River Song? Unless, still, I mean, that would be the astronaut on the beach and revealing. And we're living out a lot. Although now I'm like, I want Vincent and the Doctor, because clearly that's the one I'm showing everybody. That's how I get people usually into Doctor Who.
Great episode.
You could probably do was it the Day of the Astronaut, and I forgot the other part of that.
The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon.
The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. Thank you. Heaven Sent, and Mark, I would actually add in Hellbent.
Hellbent.
And then might as well make it when he gets the whole purpose is almost like an escape room type deal, and then when he finally gets out, then the game begins kind of deal. So he's kind of like trapped, and then the whole idea is to break out of the castle, and then out of the confession doll, and then start going nuts. So out there. So the other one I can think of is sorry, not this. Who am I thinking? The Zygon inversion, the Zygon invasion, the Zygon inversion.
Yeah.
That one was the one I was thinking of.
The girl who died and the Shielders whole storyline would be nice.
Yeah,
you could pull that off. Yeah. 13th. Mark Robinson says skip her saga to Flux's copyright issue. Okay. There's some truth to that.
So 13. Which one would you want for 13 there, Christian?
What was it? The witches. Oh God, what was the one with the witches?
The
Witchlight, is that what it's called?
Witchfinder.
Witchfinders. The Witchfinders. And probably for 12, I would probably do the Sorcerer's Apprentice, the Witch's Familiar.
Mm-hmm.
The Witchfinders. Thanks, Tom. So.
Yeah, but would that be like a saga one?
So many options. So you know what? We're gonna lose Gavin here in a few moments. Melanie, you said you had a question.
Yeah, because it kind of dovetails right into what we were all just kind of playing, and that's the fact that so we have a ton of Doctor Who. There's a vast array of lore in Doctor Who, and clearly a lot of it's canon. Some of it's less so. Some of it kind of has an asterisk mark on it because Titan Comics, they've got Joe Martin's Fugitive Doctor that they are running, and it's supposedly canon. The upcoming Star Beast special is in part based on the older comic story of the same name. Night of the Doctor references several Big Finish audio characters. So have you kept to just the televised work, or are we going to see some other Easter egg surprises from other areas?
Oh, that's a great question. Here's what I'll say. I'll say it straight. It's all from the televised show. Okay. So we didn't. If you go out in the world of Big Finish and comics, it's just. I mean, we already can't cover everything in the TV show. There's so much to cover. We don't want to go further than that. But what I will say is, I certainly looked into all that stuff, and there's probably a few characters that I chose to include in the set who might have not been as popular in their initial runs, but have had a great second life in other places. So I guess that's what I'll say there. So it has to have shown up in Doctor Who in the TV show to be eligible, but sometimes you put the thumb on the scale a little bit for people who have going to be popular later on.
Okay.
Ooh, I wonder if Mags is going to be in there.
Frobisher, damn it!
If you ever do a Marvel set, Death's Head has to be in there just to connect back to the Doctor Who. That's all I got to say on that. Gavin, we've only got a couple of minutes left here. So what else do we need to know?
Well, I mean, all I'll say is if you're at Comic-Con, come to my panel next week. Be sure to be following social media next week and the week after for both San Diego Comic-Con and MagicCon Barcelona as we show off more. And I just hope you all get the chance to enjoy it. It's a real labor of love. It was me and my team of Doctor Who fans at Wizards that made this happen. They're all fantastic. And I can't wait for you to check it out. I think it's going to be really special. And whether you play the game or not, just looking at the cards is a real love letter to Doctor Who. Yeah. So thanks for having me on and hope you all enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
And if you want to, I'll also say that I've, just for a shameless plug, I've got a YouTube channel that I post videos to 3 times a week, covering magic design. And of course, I'm going to have Doctor Who stuff on there as it gets closer to the decks releasing on October 13th. So feel free to go check it out. It's called Good Morning Magic, and just Googling that will get you there. So,
Gavin, if you got a minute, just put it in the private chat, and I'll make sure it goes into the public chat right afterwards.
Yeah, sure thing.
And this is the, if I'm not mistaken, right now, Magic the Gathering, and here's the cards. Here's the official website. If I'm every Doctor, every dimension, and the release date will be October 13th. You can pre-order your cards here, if I'm not mistaken. Am I missing anything on that one?
You're crushing it. It is 4:00, and I now need to jet. So thank you all so much for the great time today. And see you elsewhere in time and space. We'll try and catch up again, maybe closer to the release. We can talk through some of the art and the stories that we did. We can see how all your guesses work, right?
Cool.
Thank you, Gavin, so much for.
Thank you, Gavin.
Have a good one.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
And we'll
All
see
right.
you again soon.
See you all soon. Take care.
And for those of you who are watching, who are listening us into the audio, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to continue your adventure, please come on to the YouTube channel to watch the after party, and any extras that we have out here we'll be discussing momentarily. Thank you so much again for joining us. Remember, don't forget to youtube.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, facebook.com/The Traveling TARDIS. We are closing into the 7-1 number. Very close. We're 3/4 of the way there. We were thinking that we were going to hit this number by the end of this year, and here we are coming up to 71,000. So thank you so much. Tell your friends out there. While you're at it, please, for those of you online, here's your chance. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Also, if you'd like, and it's in the chats right now, you can pre-order Magic the Gathering. It's at magic.wizards.com/en/products/Doctor-Who. Again, you can check. This link will be provided to you in the YouTube location out there. And then for those of you who like to listen to our podcast, join us, iHeart, sci-fi.radio, Odyssey, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We're going to be right back within just a few seconds. But for those of you listening on sci-fi.radio and on our audio podcast, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. Everybody who's watching, we'll be right back. Unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to pull up the website, so here it is. If you want to pre-order your tickets, as I mentioned over here, I'll put it in the chats. I think that's a great picture right there to get people's attention. Tickets, and again, the release date is October 13th.
Yeah, so I'm already working with Gavin to try and schedule something in just before those go live, when everything will have been released. We can talk about a lot more options and a lot more opportunities to do stuff. So I'm super excited to dig into this a little bit more with him.
Will we be able to play this online, or I doubt it?
That's what he said. Yeah, or not yet. That's
not yet. Yeah,
that's Magic the Gathering Arena. That's their online platform.
You have to come to this and play with your own cards, right?
Right.
Yes.
So, like, if I bought a deck and each one of us bought our own decks, we could do it like this, like almost like a online
in theory,
thing,
yes. It'd be a little bit awkward, but we could make it work.
Okay.
I would be up for the challenge.
Okay.
I would be too.
I would just have to build a set. We'd all want to have a second camera so we could see our different cards, and I would basically build it a layout with us here, like we are now, and 4 other cameras over there, with what we have going on playing.
It would be kind of cool if there was a way. I mean, this would be expensive, but it would be if we all each, like, let's say it was the 4 of us playing, and it's, if you happen to have a copy of all the cards, where you could at least do top down on your side, even though what everybody else's cards are still. I could say, okay, well, I'm playing this, and that you take the copy that you have, and this, or even then we just use your cards and we just write down, these are my cards, and because it's strategy to it too. So there's, yes, there's bluffing, but you have to guess when I'm going to use what. So
exactly. I will say, Mark, the last Tuesday before this is released is October 10th.
Oh, okay.
Good to know. Yeah.
May have Gavin back on to.
That's all I'm going to say is that's the last opportunity we could do this.
We'll try to see if we can have Gavin back when it gets closer to see if there's any updates or any changes right here. But according to the website, there are four pre-order boxes, including Timey-Wimey, Masters of Evil, Blast from the Past, and Paradox Power. Timey-Wimey enjoys some fish fingers with custard with the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctors and their companions in their thrilling multiplayer games, each ready to play 100-card commander decks, include 50 new cards with Doctor Who themed art and mechanics. Master of Evil, battle as the baddies with the ready to play 100-card commander deck featuring Doctor Who's greatest villains. Each deck includes 50 new cards with Doctor Who themed art and mechanics that will help bring an end to the world's greatest threat, the Doctor. Blast from the Past, reverse the polarity of the neutron flow, take a trip to the past, joining the first 8 Doctors and their companions. This is probably what I want. In thrilling multiplayer games, each ready to play 100-card commander decks includes 50 new cards with Doctor Who themed art mechanics and Paradox Power. Embrace the power of the Paradox with the 12th and 13th Doctors, each ready to play 100-card deck. Includes 50 new cards with Doctor Who themed art mechanics with the Doctor and the companions at your side. You should expect the unexpected.
Click one of those pre-order links for me.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Mark has a good question about that, of how much are the decks?
Sure. Hang on one second.
They are $70 on Amazon.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go.
But of course, we don't want to do it through Amazon. Go to your friendly local gaming store because honestly, I would say probably 85 to 90% of gaming stores make most of their bank off of Magic the Gathering. So this is a great opportunity for you to go meet your new store. If you've never been into a brick and mortar board game store, this is your excuse.
Yep. And if you ever wanted to play, a lot of them will host nights where you can play, and many of them will have one that is a freebie night or a freebie table, and you'll just make some friends and whatnot. Hey guys, we're out of the COVID world. Let's go see people again.
Just hearing the banter of the gamers last time I went to my LCS, and those gamers were just on fire with the banter. It was super entertaining, just hanging out.
And just while you're there, I'm going to be all sorts of self-promotional now. If you go to TheRatHole.ca/who, you're going to have most of my Doctor Who board game reviews that I've done. I am having a little bit of behind-the-scenes issues with that, so the Doctor Who Nemesis review is not up there. And of course, I've got the... there we go.
There we go.
I've got blur on, so it's not...
There you go, right there.
There we go, right there.
Don't move at all.
So I the first part, the mechanics, is published, and that's going to be, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, is that coming out in the next issue as well? Is that?
It is. Yeah, that's right. It's coming out very soon, hopefully this month.
Yay! So possibly later this month, you can check out Cosmic Mass magazine and read that review if you don't read, because it's again not at that website, but it is. If you search for it, you'll find it on TheRatHole.ca. There are more reviews for Nemesis coming. I don't know if I'm going to be able to review the Magic cards. I just don't. We're at a stage in this conversation that I can't guarantee that without pulling out my wallet and pre-ordering myself. I don't actually. I just honestly can't answer that. But yeah, no. There's some great stuff if you go into those friendly local gaming stores, pre-order some Magic, and go take a look at what else they've got. Not just your Doctor Who games, but all your games. Because that's a good stuff. Hype.
Hype away, mate. Hype away.
Well, there was
Fine.
There were pictures that we hadn't gone through yet. And,
I'll tell you, it looks cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. That is cool.
I don't know that they're going to be doing pre-releases for the Universes Beyond. I don't know that. Release, yes. Pre-release, I don't know. So one of the cool things that we didn't kind of get into because we were limited on time, you'll see some of these ones that we're showing, like the mountain one that we stopped on, that one there. The last one was the swamps. And I think I've got, that is your forests. And then the island. That one's your plains. Okay. And then there's the one with the kind of big pyramid-y thing.
Oh, pyramid-y thing.
An island.
Yeah.
Those are your 5 mana.
Oh.
To get those 5 colors of mana, you need. I'll put this in worlds apart phrasing. These cards get you your Artron.
Oh, okay.
So instead of, you don't gain mana automatically, you gain it by playing cards. Those are land cards. That is these. Each of those types of land is associated with one of those colors. So swamps gives you 1 black. It's in play. It stays in play. You tap it. You turn it just to note that you've activated it, and you get that 1 mana to spend, and however many you end up with in play. So plains is white, islands is blue, mountains is red, forests is obviously green. I don't know if they're doing, Mark, someone who's played more recently, do they still have artifacts? I know that for the longest time they had non-colored things called artifacts. You could spend any color mana on. I think that'd be kind of cool, because I know Scott MacArthur had a question earlier about what the magic equivalent to the sonic screwdriver would be, and in this case the answer is the sonic screwdriver, because it's a Doctor Who set.
I really like this card. I really like what they did with her.
That's really cool.
I love that.
Yeah, no, they've done. And that was one thing I kind of wanted to ask, but I wonder if it's like if the Sarah Jane is going to be that's the only one, or if it's going to be something where you have young Sarah Jane and then older Sarah Jane.
Yeah,
so why not?
That'd be a good question.
I have the Doctor at that.
I'll ask him at the con.
Yes, you should. If you are allowed, I don't know if you're allowed to video that. If you're allowed to video that,
you want me to video that?
I could try. Yes.
Okay, fine.
Here, please. Yeah, no, that would be amazing if we're allowed. I mean, they don't always allow you to do that sort of thing, but
I mean, I don't know if we'll get in trouble, but I can video it for us.
Yeah, and even if it's just your own question.
My own question. I have a question. We're going to have more than one Sarah Jane. Can I video this? That's my question.
Yes, thank you.
I'll waste my question with can I video this? Okay, thank you.
You have to ask as you're doing it.
As I'm doing that, just turn around and be like, hi, I have a question. Can I video this? No?
Yeah. Some card dual or triple mana and some card colors mana.
Yeah, so basically you can have multicolored. That's what he was saying with the Doctors being more than one color.
Yeah.
So most creature cards in Magic are one color. Goblins are almost always, there is no such thing as a universal here, are almost always red. Fairies and elves are always green. Merfolk, blue. Vampires, black. Angels, white. And I mean, there's all sorts of other species, races, creature types that fall into that. But there was an entire, one of their earlier sets was called Legends. And the entire point of it was these multi-class people or multicolor creatures, and they were all really big and they were all unique and similar to Worlds. Again, we went, since so many of us have either played or in the audience watched our Worlds Apart, you can have up to 4 in your deck of a given card. Normally that's similar to Magic, whereas in this version everything is unique. And there are some unique cards in the Worlds Apart. Legends in Magic would also be usually unique. And cards are dual or triple, even 5. Yeah. So this art is just so great. And I love what they did. They basically went, they took stuff from the show. I don't know what that one is, but they took whatever references they could
Looks like Marinus.
I was gonna say that almost looks like the forest that he lands in the movie in like the the Daleks movies.
Yeah, the Cushing one.
Yeah.
Oh, if that's the Cushing one, I'll be so happy.
That would be just the chef's kiss to that.
I would be so
happy. Yeah, they basically took whatever they could for an appropriate landscape, and then just dropped the TARDIS into it, which is kind of a cool way to have done that.
Yeah. It's almost like they're reminiscent of certain episodes, but not specific to them.
Yeah, and some of them are Pacific. No, wait, specific, and others aren't.
Pacific.
Oh, Atlantic.
That I enjoy that one. She's just so outrageously big in that one. It's great.
And even this style is beautiful. The very watercolor-esque kind of nouveau style. Very Alphonse Mucha.
The magic artists are just always such high quality. Doesn't matter what set it is.
Well, that Davros one. I mean, that's one that's I mean, if you want to pull it up. Okay, so an artist made this, people. Go over there, look at that red column. Those are hexagons. That is a lot of freaking hexagons.
Yeah.
And then and it's not like they just went in and did one color. Within those lines of the hexagons, it's different shades of reds, and then the insides of red. So that way, you're also putting these hexagon lines on something that's curvilinear. So it's insane technical skill to do just that
the tables
piece.
on the left. Like it's just
all
of these are just gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing that struck me. But I also like how Gavin was talking about strategy and chess. So many game tie-ins have, they're about fighting and combat. So this game seems to lend itself more to the Doctor using.
It can,
yeah, and just more strategy all around on both sides.
I'm so excited for this. I really am. Like it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be expensive.
I want to see how they're going to sell the what he said the 2-part cards that show like the area that they're going to be, how big those cards are going to be, and how much they're going to be.
I don't know off the top of my head. I know older cards were like that, but I know they're going to be smaller than that. I feel like they're doubles.
Now, were they sold separately?
No, they won't be, because if you look at these boxes.
It'll be in the box.
Right? So
okay.
Right, so that's one card. I'm circling this with my mouse, like you can see it. If you look at that's basically the window in there is the back of one card. That is one standard, basically playing card, collectible card, whatever, and then flip the other side. So, and that's about how big that's going to be, and that's why those are sold in that format. Plus the number of cards too. I mean, and you can see the same. Again, I'm not the one sharing the screen, but you've got the booster packs that look like they might have those in them as well, because it looks like it's being sold in a similar sort of way.
Yeah. I love that Masters of Evil is Missy.
Yeah.
I like that. It's her right there. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
She's my favorite master right now.
It's this is going to be so exciting. We don't really have anything for the after party. We didn't. We just kind of we wanted to we were just going to gush for a while.
Yeah, because let's face it, our tongues were on a leash a little bit because we had to say the approved questions and great questions anyway. But like when
it was similar to what we did with had to jump through with, worse than what we had to jump through for Cubicle 7. We had to kind of go through everything, and because these also had to go through Wizards of the Coast, who had to go through Hasbro, who also had to go through the BBC. So it has definitely been.
It's a different type of NDA. It's vetting the press.
Mark just sent me something. If I can put it up out there,
go for it.
This is the stained glass.
Oh yeah, that's set. Yeah.
That's
that's again. Those are some of the different land cards. Those are the symbols for each of the colors. So you've got the plains at the top as a sun. Your islands is a water drop. Swamps. Your black is the skull. Mountains, red is the fireball. Forests are obviously green, and the tree.
Now,
I'm a terrible human. I'm a terrible human being. I'm literally looking at these parts, going, can this actually be made? Some parts, absolutely.
How long would you feel like somebody like me who like never touched Magic the Gathering? How long do you think somebody would take to feel comfortable about playing the game? Like
it will depend on what version, what specific individual things are on the cards. Because there's
something like Worlds Apart
abilities, right?
Right. It's just getting used to that. It's just getting used to your cards, what they can do, what special powers they had, and trying to just mix and match and make it work. Okay.
And think of it the same way as when this game first came out. There was a lot of kids who picked this up, and then it was also a lot of adults. Same thing with the game of chess. You could teach a kid how to play chess. Now, will they play on the same level as an adult? Probably not. Same thing here.
Yeah.
I just remember when my roommate moved in, he had this like box of. And I go, what was that? He goes, Magic the Gathering. I'm like, Jesus. Really?
It's a collectible card game.
Yeah. Just like Worlds Apart. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you can, gameplay is not this necessarily similar, but not dissimilar. But if you think of it in those terms, yes, you're buying booster packs, you're collecting the cards, and then you're building your deck from those cards.
It's kind of like Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
They're very highly collectible, and you can play the game.
There used to be one format, and as the years have gone on, because there's so many old cards that have been sometimes they're overpowered, so they errata them, or they bring out new cards to counter them more commonly, or just ban them. There were cards that were just plain broken and banned from play, but there are formats that even those are allowed in. But they're so old and expensive that you would never play them.
Yeah, that makes more sense. It's like, let me just go ahead and use this card while it's in its PSA graded case.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, if you are playing with the right group of people, and you can have proxies. But again, why would you bring out your a very, 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 very expensive card, no matter what it's encased in, into public? That's just a terrible plan.
That's somebody who wants to show it off. We're like, look what I own! Bam! You're like, ooh.
I win.
Get that thing down. It's like, oh my God. Is that what I think it is?
That was exactly what I was just thinking, is a Black Lotus. There you go, 700,000 pounds.
What?
So what is the Black Lotus?
Pretty close to $1 million right there.
How? It's like baseball cards, only you can
smack
people around with.
Yeah, exactly.
That's literally it, yeah.
And Black Lotus was one of those cards that was very, very rare right from the get-go. Very, very powerful right from the get-go. It was early. First it was restricted, then banned, I think. Basically, it was a form of land. It wasn't a land card necessarily, if I remember right, but it basically gave you one of every color, any color mana, if I remember right. But it was a very, very easy card to get into play that gave you a lot of power. One of the things I kind of miss that they've gotten away from, there was a core element in the original game of Magic where each color had something that you would get 3 blank for 1 mana. So red focused a lot on direct damage. There was a card that would do 3 direct damage directly to a card or to the player for 1 red mana. I think green healed you 3 for 1. Fountain of Youth? ? What are the other? But each one had one. I forget what it was. And then after a number of years, even after I stopped playing, a couple of them would get pulled out of that. And I think white prevented damage up to 3 damage. Blue, I don't remember what blue did, because it has a lot of counter spells, and my brain's telling me it was a form of counter spell, and I don't remember. But yeah, no, it was the game, the meta of the game has shifted so much over 30 years. Of course, it has, and kind of each of the sets has its own story. Just like, again, this is why I was saying it fits so well with Doctor Who. If you get here's your fallen empires, and it's got a whole set of of these new cards that it has a storyline of why they exist and how they fit into the Magic universe at the time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of where this is. There we go. Yeah, Mark. Each card has a symbol on it to represent the deck, but a symbol may have a different colors. This represents if a card rare is epic, legendary. Yeah. So it and that was something they added in later sets. Is it became easier. They made it easier to tell how rare a card was. Partly because you may have seen news articles of like schools banning Pokemon cards because the older kids were ripping off the younger kids. Oh, I know what that's worth. Yoink.
Wow.
They basically made that harder to do, which is unfortunate they have to. And then each set has a unique symbol to it to tell what set it's from. So like these might all have like a little tiny stylized TARDIS somewhere on the edge of the card. Where's that? Do we have that? Where scroll down, not that far down. So if you look in the lower right hand corner of those, again, I'm circling this with my mouse. If you look at the lower right hand corner of each of those cards,
right,
symbol there.
Wow.
And that indicates what set they are from. And so each set has its own unique symbol, so it's easy to tell because as time goes on in some of their formats, this set is no longer tournament legal in this format. It just ages it all out, and they just take out everything to keep progress happening. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond.
Seeing some frowns.
I do wonder who's going to be like what their commercial blitz is going to be, because I know right now I see a lot of the Lord of the Rings one on right now, and it's Elijah Wood kind of touting what's being sold, and talking about the cards, the characters, the art, all that kind of fun stuff. So I kind of wonder if they're going to have a doctor or have somebody from the WHOniverse kind of talking about the cards a little bit. If they're gonna have like that named promotional sponsor.
Mm-hmm. It's possible. I mean, that was a little bit harder to do with the Warhammer 40K one because it's also a game, so they couldn't really do that as much. But yeah, it's certainly plausible. But no, I'm super excited for this. I hope you at home are also excited. Kristen, is your roommate going to be picking some of this up? Did you ask him if
I don't know. And we got to think. I got to make a mention of Aaron Duvall. He's a friend of mine, and he's also my roommate. And he helped us get in contact with these folks out there. So I have no idea what he's doing, but apparently he's played Worlds Apart with me, and he thought it was a strange game. So I guess,
and it is to a certain extent.
It's so he's, but I guess because he's not familiar with the Doctor Who characters as much as I was. So once I played the game a few times, so
and that was kind of one of the things he mentioned. These cards work the same as the cards he has,
right?
So even if you just got your deck, he could play one of his decks. You're not going to get the same story, obviously, but you can make a deck that would work against him or not, or he can have another commander deck that is not this theme, and you can play it all together.
That's good.
So that kind of it's a really nice way to bring in. If you are a Doctor Who fan who's never played Magic, this is a great way for you to come into the hobby. If you're a Magic player who's never touched Doctor Who before, this is a great way to bring you in and give you some exposure to the.
Oh, I do like the cross-pollination. I'm wondering if we'll. And I don't know if I heard, futzing around with doing stuff on the producer side, but did he mention, are they able to start cross-pollinating? Like, will Marvel and Doctor Who get together and stuff like that?
I mean, he couldn't release that. Yes, he sort of. Yeah, these cards are all perfectly legal in play. You can pull out the Doctor, put him in your Goblin deck, or whatever. So yes, you can cross-pollinate in that way. There wouldn't be a
sanctioned. You're not buying a deck that has both of them in it.
Yeah, but there's nothing saying you can't. They'll never sell a deck that is Marvel and Doctor Who or Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who, but that doesn't mean you can't just build the deck that is Doctor
It's not like they're going to have the box and going, guess what's in here? Surprise mystery box.
Like I said, it's just like when just like in
they're your
in World
toys.
War,
You can play with them however you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who. So many possibilities.
Okay. We gotta have at least the 7th Doctor and Radagast the Brown in there. There's so many of that. That just has to happen. You just click.
12th Doctor's just gonna go right up to Frodo, take the damn ring, be like, "Give this to me. I'm just gonna go." Up into the TARDIS, and we're just gonna chuck this into Mordor. We're done here. There's none of this. I can't do it. Sam, no, we're not doing that.
And then Radagast is going to pull out his
Sam,
umbrella.
go get your potatoes.
And then Daleks will
Question mark umbrella.
Daleks eye stock, and now you got an invisible Dalek, and we're all hooped. Oh no!
That's a cool day.
That's something that should be pointed out.
Inside of a Dalek.
Oh, and I think it was Mark Robinson. Mark, you had mentioned I think it was you that mentioned somebody in the Lord of the Rings set. They printed one ring.
Oh.
One single copy of the One Ring.
Are you kidding me?
No. And it was actually found in Canada. Someone in Ontario got it, and it was immediately graded, not even a 10, amusingly enough. And yeah, immediately just like slap that sucker into carbonite. And
don't even touch it.
No one's really sure if he's just going to sell it off because he will make a bloody fortune off of that. But that was the gimmick with that. It was the golden ticket. It was the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory golden ticket. Yeah.
One ring to rule them all. It's perfect. It's
exactly
perfection. I hate them. Also love it.
Exactly. But that I think it kind of brings the show to a screeching halt.
Yes. Surprise! We started talking about a different fandom.
Thrills.
Hey, I didn't bring Star Wars up.
This is true. You never know. You never know. I mean,
there might be a card set in the future, though.
I mean, Disney's also kind of got their own card set, but that card set also has its own problems right now. So, but yeah, who knows? That's the thing about we live in a golden age of gaming and IPs where all of these things can be all of these things.
Yes, because most of all of these things are starting to become owned by the same company.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to mention that, but
I will. Licensing.
You don't need to license if you own it already.
Exactly.
I maintain that Disney wants to buy absolutely everything so that somebody behind the scenes is pulling the strings so they can get all the rights to all of the background footage in the original Muppet Babies.
Hey.
That's why it's never come out on DVD. They don't own any of these rights because no one gave it in the 80s.
No.
Well, they own the Muppets, they own the Star Wars footage, they own all of so much of this already. It's either gonna be public domain or hopefully mouse owned, and we can have them up a good Muppet Babies, not this computer animated CGI. What the fuck have you done to my Muppet Babies? The new Muppet Babies is trash.
I haven't seen it. I can't. I'm not going to.
Babies.
The charm of the old Muppet Babies was all of that extra footage, and it doesn't have that.
Yeah.
It's just like
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Well, as we're about to leave, don't forget to check out Nick Smith Films. And you can see the hashtag and also the Cosmic Mask magazine's coming out. The new episode's coming up very shortly, correct?
Yes, that's right. This month.
Yay!
There you go.
Yeah.
Then I'll have to work on next month. Don't forget to check out. Thank you, Dave, for hosting this episode, TheRatHole.ca, Linktr.ee/TheRatHole.ca. You can also check him on the YouTube channel as well. And the lovely Melanie Dean right over here at your Instagram, Pieces of Bailey.
Yep.
And you can check her out because she's doing my stuff and building stuff along the way out there.
Getting ready for San Diego Comic-Con, and right after that, Tampa Bay Comic-Con.
So you're going to be at San Francisco and Tampa Bay, so people can check you out.
San Diego and Tampa Bay.
And where are you
weekend
going?
after weekend after weekend.
If this weekend I will be in Richmond, Virginia, at Grover Park ? Near the north end of Richmond. Yeah, it's that's the IQA International Quadball Association, formerly Quidditch, for the World Championship. 15 countries coming.
So cool.
I'll be out there refereeing. I'll be out there taking photos. And
should be
if my
nice.
schedule works out, I'll be doing some practice stuff with Team Hong Kong, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the following weekend, I will be in New York City, Randall's Island Park, I believe, if I remember right. And that is Major League Quad Ball, again, formerly Quidditch. They have their Worlds weekend, so they're going to have the Boston Forge and New York Titans have a 3-game series on the Friday night. Saturday is basically an All-Star Skills Day. And Sunday will be a fantasy draft tournament. So I'm going to be playing against a lot of these World Cup athletes that are left over from after the World Cup.
Yay! Don't die.
I would like to point out that I think I will not be old enough to be every single one of their fathers. I know there's at least one player on my team that's 35.
Yay!
So I won't be able to be their father.
Small victories.
I'm probably going to shave some of this off just so I don't feel quite
diet
as old
just
and
diet.
disgusting. No, I look like a supervillain. If I have dyed my beard before, and I look like Kraven the Bloody Hunter.
Well, then that's when you do it.
That's
Oh my
exactly.
God.
Lean into that.
Or like
Exactly,
the
lean.
bad Ainsley Master. Like it's just like no.
Yes.
Yes. Listen to Melanie.
Especially as the Silver Star streaking in here, it's just like it's
but still do it.
Grandpa Ratzo.
And then, after that, you'll be able to find me at Gen Con first weekend of August. I will be helping out with Flat River distribution / Greater Than Games here and there. I'll be around doing media as well. So just keep an eye out for the Paparazzo number 99 on my jerseys. And then I'm off to LA to shoot the Julie's Andrews at Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood. And yes, I am driving all of this.
There you go. Dave is the master.
Poor car.
The games master. Nice.
What?
I'll be reading the Teletubbies.
Bring a monster with you. Bring a lot of monster with you.
Speaking of bringing monsters with you, Dalek Hal, you can check him out and his Facebook page, facebook.com/Dalek Hal, the Daleks of Orakos, I think.
Orakos.
I don't know. Orakos. If you don't know who Dalek Hal is, he's going to be actually at Dragon Con.
What the what?
No.
It's a spicy energy drink.
That's illegal. That should be illegal.
I have no idea how this is going to be.
I don't know if I would do it. Oh, dude,
I'll
no.
keep you away.
And then hot sauces because they're made in Tennessee.
And do the one chip challenge to wash it down with.
Oh, dude, no.
So you see fire shooting out your nostrils.
No me gusta.
They rap.
¿Por qué no?
Because they're nice. They don't want the white
Melanie,
hot sauce, right?
no.
It's like Christmas. What's this one?
Okay, so Mark said, have I gone through the chocolate yet? Not all the way. Sweeter Reaper. Ooh. Hot sauce. Sweeter Reaper hot sauce.
Let's go through the one chip challenge and wash it down with those.
Nope. I don't do them hot things. Although Mark had asked me about the chocolate, and no, I'm still going through it at a nice leisurely pace, and none of it has expired, so no, not yet. But your package of the adventure of ranch flavored everything is continuing. I am finding every ranch flavored or ranch dry good I can because I can't send you anything liquid. So ranch dressing, stuff like that, I can't. But I've been buying ranch packets like the Hidden Valley Ranch ones. I've been buying the Aldi ones. I've been buying store brand ones so that you can try them all the packets out. Cool Ranch Doritos, everything that's Cool Ranch that I can get that I can safely ship. You're getting it, brother. I hope you're going to enjoy 10 pounds of ranch goodness.
I don't think we can do that one live. I don't think we can do that box opening, that tasting live.
It's powder.
We'll have to do something like we did last week where it was just pre-recorded all of the bits. I hope people tuned in last week. It was a pre-recorded episode, but I still hope people watched it.
I think quite a few people watched it. I know quite a few people still watched it. So
those poor people thought that y'all were live. No, sorry.
Yeah, it was in the chats, and they were asking questions. It's like, no, we're not there.
No,
we're not there. Sorry.
Say, please keep interacting because feed the algorithm.
I'm
hoping to be in the comment section.
I mean, Dave could have been on there.
We had questions.
We're getting a few comments out there. Speaking of which,
Mark said I did.
Dalek Hal will be at Dragon Con, and for those of you who don't know what Dalek Hal looks like, here he is. And
That always ends with Christian, bring Hal over.
I know. Because it's like, oh, I'm recording this. Anyway,
The genius behind the Dalek.
That's right. Speaking of which, there, folks, don't forget, right now you subscribe to youtube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, over 3,200 subscribers out there. Don't forget, it's in the chats if you want to get to it, and it should be in the link description below, magic.wizards.com and /n/products-Doctor-WHO. It'll be premiering October 13th, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Facebook.com, almost 71,000. Thank you so much for joining up on that. On iHeartRadio, Sci-Fi Radio, Odyssey, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can listen to us. And surprisingly, I never thought I'd see the day of this. There is on TikTok. We're on TikTok, and to go live, you have to obtain 1,000 subscribers.
Oh.
And by some act, one video, when they say one video can make a difference, one of the videos that we uploaded of Dalek Hal has almost reached 100,000 views.
Very cool.
And that video added 800 people to our... I mean, we just shot past that 1,000 goal. So for whatever reason, if we decide to go live on TikTok, you can check us out there. That's where we make videos for some of the stuff that you see out there. And now that we can go live, we might even try to do some exclusive content on our TikTok. And of course, check us out. You sign up for free on... Where's it? Oh, I don't know what it's doing there. Oh, okay, because it's a stream. Okay.
I just want to
Go ahead.
I just want to quickly add, if you're not following me on Pieces of Melee on Instagram, because that's where I tend to be the most, please follow me because I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con next week. I'm flying out, so I will probably not be on next week's show because my flight is the next day. So yeah. I will try to get into Gavin's panel. I will try to maybe at least do it live recording wise. So if you do want to watch it, follow me here and you can at least see when I'm going to be going, getting to it. Threads is next. I already have a Threads. It's the same thing.
Yeah, we're already on Threads.
Already on Threads. I kind of dig it. It reminds me of Twitter. It was Twitter back when it first started, and I really like that stripped down, just tweeting, just meeting people and only following what I'm following and not having all this stuff that I always have to click around and go, I didn't follow this. Why am I watching this now? Anyway, San Diego Comic-Con, I will be there. I'll be roving around. I am in the art show and ta-da. So you can see I have 3 panels in the art show, meaning big boards. So I will be bringing artwork. I will be bringing prints. I will be bringing all my fun wares and goods and stuff. But most importantly, I will be there at preview night and all 4 days. So come say hi, come see me. I will have different swag, kind of little freebies and stickers to give away if you see me. And that's it. I wonder if I have time to grab the TARDIS from somebody to take it to San Diego.
There is a possibility out there. Well, for everybody else, thank you for joining us. Again, don't forget to, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Help the algorithms on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we should have an episode next week. We'll let you know what it's about when we find out what it's about out there. In any case, Tony, take us out.